Hi everybody, I am here to answer all your questions and I get a lot in the comments, so I thought it might be better to put it all in one place. As you know, I use astrology with tarot and that is where the bulk of questions come through. So let's see if I can do this in one go. The first question that I always get is why the astrology part with tarot, okay? If you have seen my videos, in the introduction, I always say I use astrology because it's been used for thousands of years. It's had major influence in divination, including tarot. Now, astrology has been used for thousands of years. We can trace it back to 3rd millennium BCE. And astrology was used, if you think about living during that time, okay? Even in 14th century when tarot did come out, all right? There was no pollution. You could actually see the stars. You could actually see the stars. You could see planets. It's been part of many ancient civilization cultures, and it's endured this long. Even, presidents, world leaders, CEOs of companies, they use astrology to plan, as for guidance, and that was what they did back in the days, ancient civilizations. And when I say plan, use and guidance, we're talking everything from when to agriculture, right? Like when to grow crops, when's the best time to have a baby. People saw full moons as significant times. People saw eclipses as significant times, and astrology really is, there's a math behind it, a science behind it, but at the end of the day, it's looking at patterns, okay? And so this is why I use astrology, is because astrology has influenced divination, and it is largely part of people's lives, whether you're interested in astrology or not. For me personally, I would feel incomplete doing a tarot reading without having the astrological part. Now, how it relates to tarot, all right? Every tarot card is assigned an astrological element of some kind. A tarot card can have a ruling sign. For instance, the Death card, right? Ruled by Scorpio. Every card can have a ruling planet, like the Fool, ruled by Uranus. So there's a lot of Aquarius energy there because Uranus is Aquarius's ruling planet. So even the elements, break it down. Wands are fire, right? And those are attributed to the fire signs. Cups are water, right? Those are attributed to the water signs, Cancer, Scorpios, Pisces. And so even cardinal signs, right? They're attributed to certain cards. So that's why it just makes sense. Tarot has been influenced by astrology in some way, shape, or form. And for me, it's really important, with, especially because my background, I have an extensive background in astrology. And so I do birth charts for people. And it's especially when I get new clients, it's always important for me to know what's going on with their life astrologically. Now, even if we were to look at the cards here, I have my deck. I use the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, mostly because my clients prefer it, and because you can actually see, the illustrations are, I think resonate the most with people. But if you were to, for instance, here we go, okay? We have the star, right? This is ruled by Aquarius, all right? You do see the water bear here, okay? And so this is attributed to Aquarius. Now, this is why I use astrology, is because if this shows up in your reading, we can say, sure, this is stars aligning for you. This is faith. This is, your hopes and wishes, everything that is assigned to this card in terms of tarot. But then I go a little bit further. I get a little bit deeper because I look at what's happening astrologically. We know last month, Pluto did go into Aquarius. So that's important for me to discuss that because it'll change for every sign. If this shows up for, let's say, Scorpio, okay? Pluto went into Aquarius, and that would be Scorpio's 4th house. So we know this card, well, depending on where it falls in the spread, could resonate really deeply with Scorpio's fourth house. So family matters, home, foundations of life, relationships, okay? Things in your domestic sector. So that is, it gets you a little bit more insight into what's happening here. You get a little bit more detailed and a lot more specific when you do have astrology. It's really, and I don't do that for, I know that my readings tend to go long because I do the astrology part, and unlike other, like I always say, I do this because I love you, and I do love you, and I love everybody, and I want everybody to spread love. I would love for everyone to, choose love over fear, choose love over hate, choose love over apathy, right? And so when I do my spreads, I don't want to just give a general reading. I want to give you a full reading as if you are a client, okay? And that's why I do incorporate the astrology. All right, look, there you go. And so I'm pulling another card, Wheel of Fortune, ruled by Jupiter, okay? And so we look at where I look at where Jupiter is in your chart, okay, or for your sign. So if I was doing a weekly reading or a monthly reading for Gemini, we know Jupiter right now is in your 11th house, so this could have a huge impact on what's happening in your 11th house, which is your social network, right? It's also hopes and wishes, right? And so this is why I do use astrology, because you get a lot more detailed, you get a lot more specific, and it's like a framework, right? It gives you that framework. And so I do it because it just makes sense for me. So every reader has their own style. Mine is just definitely using astrology because I wouldn't feel that I'm giving you a full reading without actually having the astrological part, all right? And so that's why I use astrology with my with the tarot readings. Now, the second question that I get a lot is rising signs. Okay. And so, okay. Oh, wait, one more thing. In the tree of life, okay? And I'm trying to do this without being too esoteric and whatnot, but, the diagram of the universe of existence and whatnot, which is so, deeply rooted with tarot, the tree of life. Every sephira or a sphere, okay, has a planet, all right? So, again, there you go with the astrology of it, okay? So, astrology and tarot are linked, okay? Now, secondly, rising signs. I get a lot of questions about the rising sign. Now, here's the reason you need to read your rising sign. You don't have to, but if you want the full picture, read your rising sign, okay? The reason why is because you're your sun sign, okay? Whether you're Gemini, Leo, Aquarius, Pisces, doesn't matter. You're that, okay? And you will always be, that at your core. The rising sign, it dictates the patterns of the experiences you're going to have in your life. When an astrologer reads a birth chart, we start with the rising, okay? And so it really is more kind of like real time, if that's how you want to put it, okay? If you just read your sun sign, that's kind of just giving you an account of like just kind of like the major components of who you are. I like to say that your rising sign kind of fuels everything into your sun, which is, it sounds counterintuitive because the sun is what fuels everything else. But the rising is where all the planets are moving, okay? And we have slow moving planets, right? Like the outer planets, okay? Like Pluto and Uranus and even Neptune. But then we also have the inner planets like Mercury, which is, faster, and Venus, right? So they're constantly traveling throughout the zodiac wheel. And so if you want a more accurate description of your reading, you should definitely read your rising sign, okay? It's the other half. I always say that, if it's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with only one piece of bread on it, you need that other piece of bread. That's your rising sign, also known as the ascendant. One of the reasons why people may not read their rising sign is because we've been trained for so long, over a century, right, at the the turn of the century, when horoscopes actually came out in newspapers, every newspaper magazine has word count, right? And you can only allot certain word count based on the layout of the page. And so most horoscopes, it was only short. You could only do the sun sign and you couldn't say anything else. So it's why our brains have been trained just to know our sun sign, and which is obviously very important. But the rising will give you kind of like a real time what's going on, where are the planets, what houses are they in, and so that may resonate for you, because I get a lot of comments on none of this is happening for me. Let's say, like, you know, I got a comment from, you know, a Libra, and none of this is happening for me. It doesn't make any sense. I always say, did you check your rising? And, you know, sometimes if I have time, because they don't know what that is, I'll, you know, walk them through it. And then they find out their rising through their birth chart, and they're like, oh my God, it's home. Now, it really depends on your birth chart too. You could have, you know, maybe you have a stellium in, you know, let's say you're in Aquarius, maybe you have a stellium in Aquarius, then yeah, you're going to feel a lot more of that Aquarius energy. But still, the rising sign is very important. It gives you the other half of the picture. And that brings me to the third question I get a lot. How do I find my rising? Well, you need to know, you know, your place of birth, but you're also your time of birth, okay? And that gives you your unique birth chart, okay? No one else has it. Your unique birth chart, all right? And so one way you can do this, and I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but in the US, every hospital has a website. Okay, and usually the hospital's website will have a link that says retrieve your birth certificate. Okay, and you have to pay money. I think it depends on I don't know, the hospital. It could be $5, it could be $20, but you click the link and they'll send you your birth certificate, and there you go, you got your time. And then you can go online, and there's, you know, we live in an instant, you know, the age of instant gratification. There's so many websites now where you can actually just compute once you type in your details, whether it's astro charts or astro theme. I mean, you just Google birth chart, right? You can plug in your details, and boom, instantly you have your birth chart. Okay, and so that will have everything: your rising, your north node, your chiron, your you know, where all the planets are in every sign. And you know, I love it when I get new clients, when I do their birth chart, they freak out when some of them, and even me, I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's so interesting for me to see. So, you know, I've had people who've had, it's like 6 planets in Capricorn, or I mean, like, it's crazy how just seeing your birth chart can even open your eyes up to, like, this makes sense. Now I know why this is like this. So that is how you get your rising, and that's why it's important. And that's why I always say for sun and rising. Now, we are and hey, you tell me, all right? You tell me, but we're now in a place, especially with Pluto moving into Aquarius, beginning of this new era, a lot of things are going to be shifting, okay? And I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of really good astrologers on YouTube are only doing rising signs, okay? They're only doing rising sign readings. That's how important the rising sign is. Like, they don't even do your sun sign. They only do, you know, if they're doing an April forecast, they'll do it for the rising signs. Because again, it shows you where the planets are moving in your chart. It gives a really good idea in real time. Now, oh, and what I was going to say, yes, absolutely. A lot of people ask, like, wait, what about the moon? Aren't I supposed to read the moon? Absolutely. Read whatever you feel you would like to, whether it's your moon, whether it's your Venus, that's all up to you. I just say sun and rising because, you know, for me, those are the 2 most important, okay? But you are completely open to reading your moon, reading your Venus, reading all of that, because that's going to, you know, resonate as well, okay? Of course, you will need your birth chart to know that, where everything is. The third question is, my accent. I am from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in a small town called Marietta. But I know, and people are but I live in New York City, so I've been here for a while. But my accent still comes out sometimes. Now, So a question that nobody asked is, why did you have an outfit change? And it's because I forgot to answer a question, and it's the day later. So two questions actually. One, why can you do more readings? And I would love to. I would love to. There's nothing more than I would. I love tarot. I love astrology. I love helping people. Here's the thing. I have a full-time job. I have a very demanding full-time job. So unfortunately, I don't have the time to do more readings as much as I would love to. I know that there are tarot readers out there who do tons of readings. They're banging out readings like every day, every other day, like up to like 40 readings a week. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. They do mid-month, early month, weekly, monthly, special, bonus. But you have to remember, these YouTubers are this is their full-time career. They make careers out of this. They have to continue pump out these readings because this is their career, and they're all like really amazing at what they do. Unfortunately, I do have a full-time job, and I do also have my tarot business as well, and so I don't have time to do more than just the weeklies and the monthlies. And you'll notice that the monthlies are a little bit longer, a lot a bit longer, and they actually because I have that does it for the last week of the month. And so you'll see that I skip the first week of every month, okay? But I include, if there's anything happening that week, I include it astrologically in the weekly that comes after, all right? But I really would love to do more. It's a time situation for me. Now, another question that I get all the time is, what is your dog's name? This is Ruby. She wasn't in the other videos, but she is, because it's the next day, and we had just gone for a walk in this weekend now. She likes to sit up with me sometimes, but her name's Ruby. She's a Shih Tzu. And if you are, I'm on all the social media channels like Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. And feel free to subscribe to those, because like I actually do stories. Like, unlike YouTube, like you get to see me like in action in New York City, right? Like in my shorts and reels and whatnot. So feel free, like, it's the tarot ship on all of them. But and so my point is, she is in all of them, because I do the daily read, combining astrology and tarot for the day. Okay, and she's in, and I do it while I'm walking my dog in the morning. So she's in all the readings, but you'll see her many times in the readings. It depends on the day. If I'm doing a reading on the weekend, she'll probably be up here. If it's during the weekday after my work hours, then she probably won't be up here. But her name is Ruby, and she loves all of y'all. I started this because I would do readings for my friends all the time, and I was fortunate enough to in my previous job travel a lot, so I have a lot of friends like throughout the world, like in Europe and Asia, and so they would always come to me, and I would do like readings over the, so it was easier for me to just do readings for every sign and put them up on YouTube. And so I just did reach my 1-year anniversary. I had no idea this would turn into what it did, so I am very grateful that everyone has been very supportive and has been watching the videos and finding value in it. But I really didn't think it was going to get to a point where it was at, but yeah, that's how I started my channel, was because my friends encouraged me. So a subscriber had requested that I do a reading for, and this is when I had the first month that I had started, do a reading on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. And so I did, and I accurately predicted who would win and whatnot and whatever. But that video went viral, and ever since that, I've gotten so many requests for celebrity readings. So I think it brings people a lot of joy, and I think that they find some fun and excitement with it. So that is why I do one every week, and the list keeps growing. And I know that if I haven't gotten to your request yet, I'm still, I'm getting there. Why don't you do oracle cards? Well, that's a very good question. Again, to be honest, I'm your oracle. So I trust my spirit guides, and I don't, you know, every tarot reader has their preferences, and I just don't think that they work with my readings. Every tarot reader has their own style. Mine is more, you know, astrology based. My window's open. Yeah, a lot of people ask about that. Some people say, "Can you close your window? It's distracting." A lot of it, but I'd say 99.9.9.9% of the messages I've gotten have been, "I love your window. I love looking outside it. I love that, you know, it gives a sense of place. I feel like I'm in the room with you." And that's my goal, is to make you feel like, you know, as if you're talking here. You know, I want you to feel like you're getting a personal reading, but I also want you to feel like you're just talking to a friend on a couch, right? I want this to feel personalized for you. And so the second reason why I keep it open is because I love the sunlight that comes through, okay? I do. Right now, you can't see it because it's a certain time of day that I'm recording this video, but you can usually see everything that's going on out there. I don't know if I can lift that up a little more, but yeah, you can see all the buildings out there, the people walking here in Brooklyn. I think that it does give a sense of place, and I think that, you know, it feels a little bit more personal. However, and this is, you know, I hate to bear the sad news I'm about to say. This is the only window in my apartment where the air conditioner can fit, and so come summertime, this window is blocked. But I do take it out so about 4 months of the year, because it gets really hot in New York City summer, and this is, again, the only window in my apartment where an air conditioner fits. It will be blocked for that time. So really, why I use astrology for tarot. I hope that I answered your question. One other thing is, I think it's really important to know who I'm speaking to. I think, like, one thing that happens often, and I'm just going to use Cancer for example, okay? A lot of readers will do readings for Cancer and just focus on, like, oh, Cancer, you're so emotional and you're so sensitive, and, you know, kind of dictate the reading around that. Cancers are cardinal signs. They're leaders. You know, I've made this point a couple times. John Rockefeller, Nelson Mandela, the Dalai Lama, Princess Diana, even Prince Williams, right? Cancers are leaders, okay? Sure, they have, like, an emotional side, but you have to acknowledge everything else about Cancers. It's really, honestly, using astrology with tarot, it adds an extra layer. It adds more depth. And, you know, I think every tarot reader can agree that astrology is, you know, in some way or form important and integral to tarot. But I personally, and I know there are a lot of tarot readers that do use, you know, astrology, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because we got to look at your charts, and we got to see, you know, what's coming up, and, you know, especially with, you know, Jupiter going into Taurus in May, and we know we have another eclipse in May that's not as great as the one in April, and Mercury's retrograde. But you know, Mercury retrograde's one thing. You know, a tarot reader can just say, oh yeah, be careful, Mercury's in retrograde. But for what sign and in what house, right? So that's where I come in. It really is something that is important to me, and most of the time it's very synchronistic with what's happening with your reading anyway. But anyway, that is that. I hope that answered all the questions. That's it. Okay, so thank you so much. Y'all are amazing. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much for being here. And I will see you in my readings. All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.